Welcome to OverTime the podcast, a show dedicated to all things watches, with a special love for microbrands and their affordable range. I'm your host Praka, and some of you might know me as Kinda Average Watches. Join me as we explore new releases, share tips on building your collection, and put in some overtime with hands-on reviews of the latest watches. Whether you're a bit of a pro or you're just getting into the hobby, this podcast will keep you entertained with great stories from the people in the industry, casual conversations, and guest hosts who bring their own unique perspectives. Let's get started. G'day listeners. Hope you're all going well today. I'm so excited to have this absolute gentleman back on this podcast again. My good friend, designer and owner of Direnzo Watches. Welcome, Sergio. How are you going?
Hello, Praka. Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for having me again on your show. It's a complete pleasure, and I was missing it already. I think when you told me to if I could come again to your show, I was super glad. So thank you again.
Yeah, no, I really appreciate you taking time to join today. And I think it's been like a year and a half, or it's been a long time since you've been on, and
Yes,
a lot has
yes.
changed. And yes, and obviously for yourself, as there's so many things has happened, and us for a podcast as well. So really appreciate you taking your time. So, all right, before we kick things off, as we always do, I've got to do the customary wrist check. So, what have you got in your wrist, Sergio?
Well, today in honor of my very soon launch of the Universo, I have the gray Universo, the gray with a rose gold accents. This is the one that I'm wearing. I'm feeling a bit posh today.
Nice, nice.
I really love this one. So yeah, Universo for today and tomorrow as well.
That's of course it's leading up to it, and of course no different here as well. So thank you very much for sending these over. Got the black dial
The
on my
black one.
wrist
Yeah,
tonight.
yeah,
Yes, tonight.
yeah.
Yeah, I've had the green on most of the time, and then I switched
Yeah.
on to the black as well. But yes, absolutely gorgeous.
I think you love colors, isn't
I
it? You
do.
have the purple mondial.
Yeah, it's funny because I think I've spoken about this not long ago to someone else as well. I love colors, but I seem to always gravitate back to monochrome for majority of my time.
Yeah,
And then on
yeah,
special occasions, I'll pick the colors. But I gotta have the colors in the collection though.
yeah, yeah. For me as well, and it's a kind of crazy what happens with me with black watches because, for example, in the case of the Universal or for example the O2R, it's always like the my last choice. I
Yeah.
said to myself, okay, I'm going to do another black model. But at the end of the day, when I wear it and when I produce the watches and I have it on my hand, I say, "Well, this is wonderful. No, it's
Yes.
something that you're never going to be tired. It's so crispy in terms of contrast." And I hear, the feedback from the community is like, "I love your black watches." So
Yeah.
a decision that maybe is a bit kind of like last minute, it turns out to be something like it really works.
Yeah. Yeah, no, for sure, for sure. And I'm definitely going to be getting into colors definitely as we keep talking. So I'll save all my questions leading on from that black dial
Okay.
conversation just now. So look, yeah, of course, both the Direnzos and of course both the DRZ07. Let's get into it. Let's get into the questions. Look, again, must stress again, it's an absolute pleasure to have you back on again. Every time we chat on Instagram or whatever it is, I always go, oh, I got to speak to Sergio again. It's been too long, so I really appreciate you coming back on. So it's been, like I said, it's been about 18 months since
Yeah.
you've last been on. Quite a lot has happened. So for yourself and for Direnzo, if you can give us, our
Yeah.
listeners and myself, a bit of a, what's been happening.
Sure, sure. And what what I can propose you to make things a bit shorter next time is we should chat
Yes.
before every lunch. So instead of almost 2 years, well, maybe. every 6 months.
Done.
So
Done. You heard it
so
here
yeah,
first.
it's been crazy these latest 2 years. It's been like really crazy. I've launched the new reduced version of the O2R, which was massive for the brand, for me, in terms of what I achieved with that watch in terms of revisiting that particular model was super. I was super happy. I know everyone loves that model, so
Yeah.
it works super well for the brand. Then I had the O6, which for me it's probably one of my top models in terms of design. So I had the relaunch of the 2R and then the 6. It was crazy, in terms of launching these two models that I love so much. And then, of course, at the same time working with new models, new prototypes like the O7. It's been good. It's been good. As you and everyone knows, last year was a bit special. With the industry like having some signs of not going so well.
Yes.
But I think for us, micro is always like a good opportunity, and it's for the brand, we've been doing quite well. I'm happy. I'm trying to offer new things, new sizes. I'm also excited with the new releases that I'm planning for next year. So I've been working a lot,
Yeah.
and yeah, it's been a nice since we talk, it's been doing well.
Yeah, no, I'm so glad to hear. And definitely, like, it's really interesting. Talk about the O2R and then the O6, and those designs are. I mean, not saying this is it, but they're all very distinctively Direnzo, and that's something that it just comes straight through. And like you said, it was the design is just pure design, and there's so much in there that's just
Yeah,
so different from anything else that's out in the market. And it's always great to see even even the Mondial, which was I guess compared to the O6 and the O2R, is probably a more muted design. It was still like a very much distinctively Direnzo. So of course, going from those two releases, and then now talking about the O7, which you're just releasing,
yeah, yeah, exactly.
imminently as we are speaking. So
Very imminently.
yeah, yeah. For the listeners, you can't see this, but Sergio's got packing boxes and everything ready to go right there. So yes,
Yeah, 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 yeah.
very exciting.
Yeah,
So
launching in exactly 25 and 10 minutes.
that's yeah.
25 hours and 10 minutes. Yeah. And
I'm
then
gonna
yeah. So this is another first for the brand, which is a direct sale,
yep.
moving from the pre-sale process to a direct sale and starting to ship on Monday. So
Yeah.
another another you know movement of the brand to try to improve things and
Mm.
yeah, yeah.
Was this decision made because of your numbers already, and I guess where your brand is heading, and you think like we can make a certain batch ready to go, and then
Yeah, yeah. I think the most important aspect for me is that I've been super lucky these latest years that I always deliver on time.
yeah,
Even during COVID, I was super lucky with my latest Kickstarter campaign. But I think at some point, lucky the luck can can stop. So
sure,
so this is a way for me to be sure that I'm going to deliver on time. I really love the pre-sale model. I don't know. There was always some exciting around it, but this way I can assure that I have the watches here.
yep,
Nobody needs to wait because in fact, while speaking with many of my fan base, the people that is around the brand, they don't mind waiting 2 3 months. That's not really the issue. The problem for me, it's yeah, if there is an issue, it's a problem with a supplier or whatever, then it's not something that I feel comfortable. So moving to this direct sale, removes all that stress
Yeah.
for me. I think also people will be happy, just you to get it, fast,
Yeah. Yeah. No, it's amazing.
instantly.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
amazing. It's definitely makes things more exciting for the customer as well,
Mm.
and it reduces some of that headache. So awesome. Let's get into the watch. Of course, you called it the DRZ07, aka the Universo, and from what I've read, it's called the Universo because it's a model that's designed and made to be worn universally. And I would love to hear on how you landed that name, how you got to that.
Yeah, I really love the name. I always have a lot of fun trying to find cool names. They are always related with space themes.
Yeah.
So, Eclipse, Wandering Star, Universo, Aerolite. So, Universo, in fact, is a word in Spanish that is called, like universe. It means
Yeah.
universe. You have names like Universal, like Universal Geneve, or I think a couple of brands are using Universal, but no
Yeah.
one was using Universo, and I thought it was super cool, and it really reflects the idea and the goal of the watch, which, as you said, is to have a universal gender watch that can be used. Anyone can use, gentleman, lady, maybe a kid.
Yeah.
And I really work to find the perfect size, and also I really had in mind the idea of shareable watch with your partner.
Hmm.
That's the one of the goals behind this launch. And of course, it's designed for medium and small wrists. That's something that always I've been asked for. Most of my watches, they were 40 millimeters, or they were like 40 millimeters, like the Aerolite or the Wandering Star. So, or the Solaris, they were almost between the range of 39 or 40 millimeters. So I wanted something smaller. In fact, one of the surprises that I had when I received the watch is that I thought it would feel smaller. It doesn't feel
No,
so small on the wrist. I
not at
think
all.
maybe because of the bracelet, but I think it's really a great size for me that I have, a 16.5 millimeter wrist, and also for girls that are not afraid to use a watch slightly bigger
Yes.
uh, of what they use. So, for example, is the first model that my wife is using.
That's good.
So
Yes. About
she
time,
already
she's
got
probably
a.
saying, yeah.
Yeah, it took a bit of time, but finally she got an Aventurine.
Yes,
Of course,
beautiful.
she can use all the rest of the prototypes, but yeah. So I think, and a bit the feedback that I've been receiving is that many of these they are going to go to partners of my customers. I have the feeling that some of these watches that's supposed to go to their partners, they are going to be kept for themselves.
100%.
But but yeah, I think it's as you mentioned a watch that it's kind of universal in terms of design, in terms of size, and of course the trick or the work is how to do something that feels universal, but at the same time doesn't lack character.
Hmm.
So, so what I've been hearing or reading about this release, I just wanted to mention that I have like three lines in the Direnzo collection. I have like the O2 or O6
Yep.
that are more like very unique designs in
Yes.
terms of case and dial and everything. I have the divers line, the O3, O5, and then I have the everyday watch line, which is the Mondial and now the Universo.
Yes.
So for me, it's very clear in terms of what I'm offering. No, it's not that I want to, it's really into the line of what I wanted to have, no, which is, a continuation of the Mondial language, but on a smaller size and non-integrated. I really see this model as it really follows the line of the Mondial, but on a non-integrated case, bracelet design.
Yep. Yep. No, I think yeah, you nailed it, of course. And we'll go back to the size first. 37 and a half. It sounds small, like you say, for people that aren't used to that kind of size. But when you have it on the wrist, because of the Jubilee bracelet that comes with it, it gives it that a bit of heft, gives it that little bit of like, oh, okay, this is good. This is really nice on the wrist. It just feels like a more over I would say almost like a 38, maybe 38
Yeah,
and a
yeah,
half, just with the way that
yeah,
how it wears. And like you mentioned just then, your wife has taken that. My wife had it on her wrist as well. She tried it on and she's like, oh, hey, this fits really well. And I said, yeah, of course. And it was nice to have, like you said, have that sort of partner sharing
yeah,
the watch, between the one and the other. And of course, 37 is a case itself, but the lug to lug of 45 makes it wear
yeah,
quite compact as well. And your 11 mil thickness, which is super thin, for and perfect for a Garter watch, I think,
yeah,
in everyday style. And of course the slice lugs that you've taken over from the O5, is that
yeah,
correct?
exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. It's the same case design of the Solaris, but
Mm,
with a couple of refinements, like the
yes.
the sides, they are, like rounded instead of flat,
Yes.
and the finish, everything is more polished in this model. But
Yeah.
as you mentioned, yeah, it comes from the O5.
Yeah, yeah, no, and there's so many elements that you've done, I think, like you said, to make it more universal, have it more accessible to women, I think, and to have a watch that isn't just, pink it and bling it, that you see so many brands
Yeah,
release watches that are the same but not. They just make it pink and they put some diamantes on it and call it a day, which is not, there's no originality. There's no like this is part of the design language. I can see that this was a clear choice that you've made.
yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. I really, really wanted to produce a watch that doesn't deviate of the line and the signatures and everything that I've been working. And as you said, and I think many people from the press, that just throwing a watch and putting some diamonds on some gold details, it's kind. I think it's, yeah, it's not ideal in terms
No.
of design. It's not. Yeah, I don't know. Either way, it was not for me.
Yeah.
It's not something that I was thinking about doing. So yeah, I think, and also, you know putting, I think gold. That's one thing. That's putting, diamonds that completely would remove all the male customer base, no?
Yes. Yes.
And that was not the goal. The
No.
goal was, yeah, to have a shareable watch and something that you can everyone can wear without issues.
Yeah.
Putting fake diamonds,
Yeah.
yeah, is not ideal.
No, no. I think we'll be straying very far away from Direnzo's design language if we're doing that. But no, I think you've done a great job, and I think I've seen it on the wrist of Sophie over on
Yeah,
Instagram, and it's fantastic. Wears really well on her
yeah,
wrist, and of course, and like I said, on my wrist and your wrist, and yeah, it's a all rounder, and it's great to see. And even bigger guys, and there's nothing wrong with a classic size. People used to wear 36 mils all the time on the
yeah,
wrist. So, yep,
yeah, yeah,
it's good to see. All right, so we'll move on to the next question. I think I mentioned to this a couple of times already, or at least once, about as I've had so much time with the Mondial, I see the immediate similarities, with the dial, the ball effect, and also, which is pretty much synonymous with your brand that features here. So Can you go into the, I guess, the design choices of this Garda watch and, why did you go with the choices you did for this
Yeah.
style of watch but also, I guess, keeping with your distinctive design language?
Yeah. I think I for this particular model, and with the goal of following the line of the Mondial, I had like a small list of what I wanted. No,
Sure.
a watch similar to the Mondial, which means easy to use. Can be a Gara watch, but I wanted a model with a non-integrated bracelet. I I really love the case of the Solaris. So I said to myself, okay, this is a beautiful case. I love the slice locks, but it has to be, of course, more refined. So that's why, everything is more rounded and more polished to have, a bit of a more luxurious
Mm.
look. And there are some difference. Also, the handset, they come from the '06, from the Wandering Tsar. They are the same,
Okay.
but
Yep.
smaller. Yeah. So it's true that I took a bit of here here and there, but I think it works. And also the choice of the bracelet, which is not something that I mention a lot, but the whole watch, it's constructed around the bracelet. What I mean is that I really wanted to do a watch with a Jubilee bracelet.
Yes.
And if you see the Solaris with the Bed of Right bracelet, it's
Mm.
something that, it's very similar. So instead of going Bed of Rice, I use the Jubilee, which for me works super nice. I love it. I don't know if you saw Peter Kotza's review yesterday. He doesn't like it.
Yeah, which is interesting because that was the first thing that I looked at Jubilee is like, oh, I love a Jubilee bracelet. Yeah, that's yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. He said that it doesn't look well with the case,
I
but
I
what?
respectfully disagree, but yes,
Yeah,
yeah, each to their own, each to their own.
me too. Me
Yeah.
too. As the designer, I disagree, but I respect his opinion, and also he
Yes.
said it was his preference. So
Yes, correct. Yeah.
I completely. But one thing was for sure, I didn't want to go the oyster bracelet.
Yeah.
Uh, you know, it's. I mean, you see it everywhere. I think
Mm.
I'm tired of seeing that bracelet.
Yeah.
I mean, also have a feeling that it works well with more toolish models.
Yeah.
So for me, I wanted, to give the idea of a more, luxury model, and it shines. It shines. It's very vintage, like the case. So it's something that for me works. It works well. In terms of more design, well, you have the double track, minute tracks inside and outside. That's something that comes from the Mondial.
Mm.
I know some people might not like it or think that it's a bit useless, and I have to agree. It's not. It doesn't have any sense in terms of practicality,
Yeah.
but I like it.
Yeah, exactly.
And I
You
like
get
it. And for me, it works. It works
yeah.
because it gives like a more complete. I don't know. I love how, the 5 minute lines.
Yes.
They how do you say that, they create this liaison between inner and outside track. I use it as a, like a base of the lollipop
Yeah.
circling around. You have the eclipse date. So yeah, I think it's something that I quite like.
Yeah.
Also, you have very small details like the floating bezel, which is something that I use on my very first model, on the O2 as well. It's instead of going straight into the case, you have this.
Notch. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, you have this. I don't know how to say that, this inverted scallop,
Yeah, yeah,
bezel
yeah. I can
that
see
that
that.
makes
Yeah.
it float. So that's it. And then finally, I'm I partner with Nordex, with Nodus to use their on-the-fly clasp. I think it works well.
Yes.
I would have loved to put a butterfly, and maybe I would probably offer an optional butterfly clasp in the future.
Okay.
But I really like the idea of working with Nodus.
Mm.
You know, they've been working hard to improve this clasp in many iterations, and I know they are going to they already sent me the some images of the new one, and it's
Oh,
going to
good.
be cool, and they are going to solve some of the small details that this one has.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's got a watch,
Yep.
universal, nice size,
Yep. Yep.
10 ATM, so you can bring it to the pool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm happy with it.
Yeah, no, obviously listeners, you can't see, I got a stupid smile on my face. It's hidden by my podcast mic as Sergio's
Thank you,
going
Praka.
through and telling me all this stuff. I'm looking at it and going, oh yes, yes, 100%. I agree. Sometimes some of the decisions, like for example, the inner and the outer minute track, it doesn't have to make sense. It doesn't have to be functional.
Absolutely,
Why? I mean,
absolutely.
just like dive watches. How many people use the diving bezel? But yes, fine, it's there for a reason. I have a chronograph that's sitting next to me, and it's got tachymeter and inner outer inner, but why? Sure, there's functions there for it, but how many people actually use it? So, I think I like the fact that people say we want functionality in design, but sometimes design is just to make it look good. And whilst,
Yeah,
yeah, that's it.
yeah. I come from a architectural background. I've worked a lot in terms of how you propose a design to be, super functional or not. And the difference between completely functional. So I think the definition of a style or a signature of the brand is the space or the distance between functionality and and a style, no? And so this frontier for me, it's what defines a brand. So I can play with these small details, like the bowl shape, like and this is what is going to define. It's going to be functional. It's going to be a bit exotic. Maybe it's not going to be for everyone,
Yeah.
but those who like it, they are going to be happy, and that's the goal. I always said since the very beginning that I'm not trying to produce like tool watches or absolute practical watches. I mean, they are more like design or elegant pieces, no? And they can go really exotic or baroque. For example, the O2R, no, it's
Yeah.
yeah. In terms of design, it's I don't know, it's a bit crazy, and yeah, I think if I do a diver or I gotta watch, it has to have a little something. Otherwise, yeah, for me it would be a bit boring.
Yeah, 100%. I agree. It has to have your signature Direnzo flavor in it, and which it does. It's so distinctive. And I want to go back to the bracelet. I love the Jubilee bracelet. I can't get enough of Jubilee bracelets. I think this is I've handled a few recently, and this is definitely up there. And of course, I think the first thing I told you was about the clasp, how one of the things that I have a love-hate relationship with butterfly clasp. When the fit is right, oh, it's perfect. But sometimes when
Yeah,
it's not, I'm like, it takes me a little
yeah,
while to get used to it. But I love the fact that you did include a adjustable, I guess, as the primary option for this bracelet,
yeah,
and it's good that people want to get into the butterflies, they can in the future. So it's a good idea.
yeah, 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 yeah.
Yeah, no, no,
Yeah, I do love butterfly clouds for a couple of reasons. One is that they are super slim, and the
Yes.
second is that they integrate so well the bracelet. No, you have this continuity. But yeah, I know, many guys out there they don't like it. Or some of them they hate it. I hear a lot of, this is a deal breaker for me.
Yes.
So no, I'm going to keep offering both options.
Yep.
So in the future, but yeah, I think, with this model, I when I was finishing, like the latest details, I really I wasn't sure if to go butterfly or clasp or both. Yeah, I thought, okay, no, at that time I started talking with Nodus, and I said to myself, okay, if I'm going to have the possibility to offer my first on the fly adjustment class, maybe it won't have too much sense to give an optional butterfly class.
Mm.
And at the time, that was the decision. I think today I'm also hearing people that they would love to have the butterfly choice. So I will probably do that as well.
Great. Sometimes I feel you can do this, but someone is always going to want that. So sometimes you
Yeah,
just have to
yeah.
stick with your guns and go, this is what I'm offering,
It's
and we'll go.
super hard to please everyone.
Yes.
The other day, one of the reviews, someone said, "Oh, I wish this was 38 millimeters." Come
I-
on.
if you can tell the difference, 0.5 millimeter difference on your wrist in daily wear, props to you. But trust me, I have 36,
Yeah,
37, and 38 mil watches in my
yeah,
collection, and even 39 and a half or something. Or to be honest,
yeah.
there's not much in between all of them. So yeah,
Yeah, I always said that this one feels more 38, and
yeah.
initially that was not the goal. No, I think the goal should have been to do it 37. If I had today the perception of how it feels and how it works, because I really wanted something slightly more smaller, but I love the size, and for me, it was super super nice, and I'm happy with the and I spent a lot of time designing these dials, the hands, everything, and sometimes 1 millimeter it's very hard for me to put everything as I want, especially since I have the ball shaped dial. The ball
Mm,
shaped dial, it means that always the indices will be closer to the center, again, as as if you don't have this design detail, it will be easier for me to play with sizes. But if you look at the watch and you say, okay, you have 37 millimeters, then you have the bezel, then you have to include the ball shape,
mm,
and then you have to place the indices and have a good proportion between everything, indices, hands, minute tracks, and everything. It's kind of tricky.
mm.
So sometimes I work a lot. I put a lot of effort to have something super balanced, and sometimes, if this watch is 37.5, it's because I couldn't do it 37.
Yes. Yeah.
I think it sounds a bit, like, I don't know how it sounds, but it's reality. It's
Yeah.
for example, the date position, the date position of the calendar, no, the whole of the
Yeah.
it's super tricky, because that you know that's going to this position is going to determine a lot of factors, like the position of the lollipop, the indices, if I have an index at 6 o'clock or not. For example, in the O7, there is no index at 6 o'clock. So, so it's something that to consider when you're designing a model, no?
Mm. Going into the way you design the watch, and like you said, he's starting from the outside in, and you're doing this and you're having to pick around the positions. It really makes you appreciate the size. I really take my hats off to you, because it's it's not easy, especially trying to integrate all these elements in and in just a small, literally, what's this width of your wrist? That's all you're looking at. You're trying to fit all this
Yeah,
detail in there.
yeah.
So yeah, it's fantastic. Well done.
For me, it's super fun, and it's the part that I love the most, and yeah, it's what makes the work fun, and you know these are the kinds of decisions when you're designing that it's important to have a like a that, like the holistic approach, so everything is well balanced, and you know I'm very happy with the how the watch came. I've been reading a bit the comments. Some people could say, it's a bit that it can lack of character compared to the O2, but for me, it's not like that. It's a subtle design,
Hmm.
like the Mondial. I really wanted something, elegant, well designed, welcome, with a good composition in terms of design, and that's it. It fits into the line. It's not the O2, it's not the O6, it's another thing. This is something that is important to understand, no? And for me, it's super clear.
It fits right in and it fits right into the family and like you said, fits into your Garda territory, right? You've got your diver territory, you've got your, slightly out there category with the
Yeah, yeah,
O2R, and it fits right in. So no, I'm all for it, and I'm sure that our listeners and everyone else out there will also be here for it. So, all right. And we obviously, I talked about colors before when we started, and you said you have the gray on your wrist with the rose gold, and I have the black, and I also have the green as well, which is just behind me, of course, that you flicked in, and of course I had the purple, the Mondial as well, which I've had extensive
yeah.
time with, and all those colors just seem so distinctive in all your lineups. You always have the beautiful colors, and the palettes are the same, which is great to see. There's that continuity. You still have the same, the same greens, the same purples, there's the same blues, and of course now something a little bit different, which is the Venturine. You mentioned why you wanted something a bit slightly maybe a bit different, is it? Or I wanted to know, how did you get to the choices that you made in terms of the colors,
Hmm.
and can
Yeah,
we see different colors in the future maybe of this line?
yeah, yeah. So the choice of the Aventurine and the gray, for example, with gold accents, which are two new propositions of the brand.
Yes.
Um, they come as usual from something that I don't have that I would love to have. Like I've seen so many Aventurine watches and I never had one. So I really wanted one, and I said to myself, okay, this is a good opportunity to have one of my own. So I'm
Yeah.
super happy because it's such a lovely model that I have. It's probably the one that I wear the most, and it's also the one that my wife choose. And the gray, the history, the story with the gray and gold accents is that I have an old vintage Longines Conquest from my uncle,
Mm.
that I have it here. Is slightly different because it has a champagne dial, and I also wanted I use it from time to time, and I always found it super cool. And I said to myself, okay, this is a good opportunity to make a, like my little step into gold,
Yes, yes.
because there's going to be more gold in the near future.
Ah,
So
okay.
so yeah,
Cool.
yeah. So this one is, super subtle.
Yes.
It's not on your face. It's they all these rose gold details, they almost look like steel
Mm,
inside. Outside, of course, they shine.
mm.
And but yeah, I love it very much, this model. And the rest of the colors, well, I have the blue that I first used on the Mondial. That for, I launched the first Mondial in 2021. And since there, I didn't relaunch this particular bluish teal, kind of greenish, but yeah, it's a blue color, but with some green touches.
Yeah.
And I remember at the time, everyone loved that one. So I said to myself, this is another opportunity. Then, of course, I have the orange, which has been a, like massive hit especially with the O2R.
Hmm.
The green, I've been, like working on different types of green. The Wonder Star, it's a sold out variant, which is a more muted olive, desaturated green.
Yeah.
And then this one is it's more it pops, it's a very I'm super happy with the tone of this green. You have the purple that's been doing well with the Mundial and also the O2R. I think the whole line of colors, the purple is the one that I use the less, but lately these last 2 years, it's a color that has worked very well.
Yep.
So that's it. And the black and yeah, those are the colors.
Yeah, we went through all of them there, and it's
Yeah,
good. I love to hear why you picked what you picked, and
yeah,
it's good to
yeah.
see that, Ben. The green, of course, I'll go to the green. That's one that I've been. It's been on my wrist the most since it's come to my place. Yeah, it's absolutely stunning. It's that sort of, I don't know. I don't want to call it lime green because it's not even lime green. It's a shade of its own. It comes alive in the sun,
Yeah.
but it's also really it's that slightly darker shade inside
Yeah,
as well.
yeah, that's worth mentioning that these watches they really come alive outside, outdoors.
Yeah.
I've seen some footage from reviewers, and when it's inside, they doesn't look really they doesn't look as nice as they should. So
Sure.
it's a model, even the Aventurine.
Yes.
Indoors, it's almost black.
Mm.
Outdoors it's all sparkling and
Yeah.
shine and everything. So yeah, it's a model that really comes to life outside.
Yeah, yeah, and I think that's a great feature to have. To be honest, it's got the color, it's got the pop, but especially when in the sun, even indoors. I mean, it's still a beautiful watch. Don't get me wrong. You don't have to be too modest, Sergio. It's still a beautiful watch indoors as well. With I've got this really indoor harsh lighting at the moment, and it's still looking good on my wrist. So no, awesome. It was good to see. Talked about the '07 and talked about the release, talked about everything, the designs and the colors. So I thought we might talk about something a little bit different now, which is more about the scene in general. I guess the microbrand scene in general. Before we started the conversation, or maybe we actually it was probably at the start of the conversation, we talked about the general market as a whole the last year, or I guess more Swiss luxury watch market and everything else is sales numbers have dropped and probably overall across the market, but in the micro brand scene it doesn't feel that way for me anyway. Just from looking out, I've seen so many brands popping up here and there. And how do you feel the scene is now compared to when we last spoke, and where do you see it going?
Yeah, I think it has changed a lot. Well, I don't know if it has changed a lot, but it's definitely, I feel things have changed. And I think we are in a time of a bit of a transition. For me, it's- you know, I think next year for me will be more clear how things are going to be. I think, as you mentioned, in terms of the big names, they are all, except for, a couple of ones, they are all having some issues in terms of sales. I know here in Switzerland, they are cutting, the- they're, they're reducing their structures. And so I think it's a hard time for the big names. how they increase so much their prices.
Yeah.
All that we already know, no? So
Yes.
so and there was so much hype, and like with actors and television and all the reselling, stuff,
Yeah.
and prices rocketing, and auctions, nonsense auctions,
Yeah.
and that's something that I think everything is going back to normal,
Mm,
which was 10 years ago.
mm.
Everyone will have to do an effort, and the brands will have to work harder to place their products. They will have to now it's difficult for it's going to be very hard to to decrease their prices to their real value. So I don't know what's going to happen in terms of micro brands. I see that except two or three brands, everyone is trying to keep their prices as before, maybe just increasing the a small percentage because nowadays DHL they charge you more, so
Yes.
you have to pay more and everything. But what I see in general is microbrands they are keeping their prices. The only thing that you mentioned brands popping up here and there. I think that hasn't changed too much
Yep.
compared to 7, 5, 3 years. You see quickly which brands they are going to
To
exist and
last. Yeah.
to last after 6 months, and because it's really hard. It's super hard for if you talk with any of the you are always in contact. Everyone is going to tell you the same. It's hard.
Yep.
You have to be 200% committed. It has to be a work of passion, and you have to invest a lot in not in terms of funds, but in terms of decision making. No,
Mm.
when you have your brand and it's so easy to kill it because you wanted to do like a fast cash or whatever. So you have to invest a lot in how to keep your brand alive, how to continue developing your model, your ideas, your offers. So I mean we are in a good position because you know all the watch enthusiasts that they want to get a new model, a nice watch,
Yes.
they can do it with the micro brands. It's not that we are going to be selling in big numbers, or for example after COVID it was crazy.
Yeah.
Everyone you could sell whatever at whatever price, but that's not going to happen. We are not going to see that anytime soon. But if you have your structure well controlled, and if you have took some decisions to make it sustainable, and if your product it's something that it's going to be people are going to relate and they're going to appreciate, and you are not producing in super high numbers, you should be good. Yeah, I think I mean I'm quite positive. I think if you do something that people loves and it's a reasonable price, you shouldn't have problems.
I think the big takeaway there is the amount of effort that goes into sustaining a micro brand, especially as like you said, not just yourself, but many of the other brands I speak to and have a chat with. You realize how much you are the everything. You're
Yeah, yeah,
designing, you're doing this, you're doing that, you're doing this, and it's you have to be in it 200%, and the passion has to be there, and it's but it shows. That's what I'm trying to say. It shows. When you have a brand, that is passionate, that really wants to offer great products to the enthusiast market or just the general population. It shows in your watch. It shows in your how you interact with people. It shows with how you interact with your customers, and you know that's why you have repeat customers. That's why I've seen in the Direnzo Facebook page people who have six, seven Direnzos, or I think I saw one guy who had six, seven Mondials. You know, it's like
Yeah,
it's amazing. It's amazing to see.
yeah, that's my French friend Alyosha,
That's it.
who
Yeah.
will probably hear this interview as well. Yeah, and it's crazy when I see these images of my watches all over the world, and some guys they have two or three, and others they have 20, and WeChat, and sometimes I receive like a gift from someone from the other side of the planet, and the relation with the with the community is so special. It makes the work completely different. If you were selling only watches and that's it, no, you are really creating a relation with these people, and
Yeah.
you know what they have, their taste. You are really into a relation, and one of the guys in Tony in the forum, he was saying that they don't feel like customers, they feel like friends, and for example, customer is a word that I never use because it's really a very close relation that you have with everyone, and I like to make feel everyone like special, and they make me feel special, and it's great. I'm super happy about building this small community. And
Props to you, and credit to everyone that's helped to build this community. So let's move on to the next question. I want to know, what have you been working on? Can you give me any insights into your what's coming up next, or
yeah,
iterations of your
yeah,
current
yeah,
ones? Yeah. So what's
yeah, absolutely. I have I've been trying to launch three collections per year. It seems it's impossible for me. So after the '07, the goal is to release a new version of the Mondial in 38 millimeters. Yeah, this is going to happen after this summer. Then now I'm working to launch my first GMT,
nice?
which is going to see the light next year. And then I'm working on a very special model, you know, as we discussed, following a bit the lines of the '02, '06. That's something that I'm already working with prototypes. It's going to be a very special model. So yeah, I've been busy
Yeah.
working a lot, like finishing new designs, launching prototypes, receiving the new collection. Yes, we have. I'm also working since I don't know 3 years ago on the chronograph,
Yes.
and I
I was gonna bring
really
that
would
up.
love. Yeah, I really would love to launch it, but I always have an excuse. This one will be like, today, we discuss about the market, and launching a watch with a price tag of around 2K,
Hmm.
which is a like a Swiss made chrono, maybe less, but it's going to be expensive. Yeah, you have to be sure.
Yeah.
So I'm on it. I really, it's my favorite complication.
I know. I
Um,
remember from our
and
last conversation.
yes, yes, I really want to have it. So maybe next year, maybe
Who
2027.
knows? Yeah.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
we'll be here for it. That was part of the reason why I had a chronograph in my hand at the same time as well. I think you would appreciate
uh-huh.
this one. It's an automatic chronograph. Can you see that? 6139. JDM Seiko vintage speed timer.
Ah,
Uh,
cool.
yeah.
Yeah.
So yes, I thought you'd appreciate that one. So it's
Super cool.
yeah, yes. But yeah, I'll be looking forward to a Direnzo chronograph one day in the future. So
Yes.
yeah,
That will come. That will. It's just a matter of time.
just a matter of time. I love it. I love it. And in 38 mil Mondial is also very exciting. That again, I guess it goes into that trying to fit more wrists
Yes.
and but yes, that's very exciting. I'm looking forward to that. And will we see some of the previous version colors come back for this 38?
Yes. Yes. There will be some colors that are making a comeback, and some others that they are going to be new.
Hmm.
I w- I'm waiting the prototype, but probably there's going to be a bitone gold.
Okay.
That's why I said that little by little,
Yeah.
I'm making my first steps into gold. So so yeah, the idea is we'll see how
Sure. Sure.
I have to try it, and
Yeah.
if I think it looks good,
Yeah.
that's one of the new variants. So yes, there will be some past and new colors,
Mm,
and
yeah.
some is it's going to be very similar. There's going to be just a very nice detail on the butterfly clasp, which is I'm very proud. And it's going to be a 3D logo, very nice.
Okay.
And apart from that, probably I'm going to offer the on-the-fly adjustment clasp
Yeah.
as a second option. But you know, I already have some prototypes in it really looks the same, but slightly smaller.
Very cool. Very cool. I'm here for it all and can't wait to see all the renders and all the photos that are coming out. And obviously,
Yes.
I'll be leaving links, of course, in the show notes as we always do. I'll also link to your Facebook group as well. That sometimes you do some sneak peeks and releases, and
Yes.
that's when
Yes.
I saw the '07, I went, oh wow, and then that's when I messaged you. That's when it all started up again. So yes, definitely, I'll leave that in there. So awesome. Thank you so much for giving us a insight into that. And yeah, that comes to the end of our question section today. So I was just gonna say, it feels like it's gone so quickly, but we've been chatting for a while now. I'm not sure you
Yeah.
realize.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, you know what they say, right? If you're having fun, go fast.
Everyone, it's already sleeping at this point.
No, no,
No,
no,
no,
no,
no.
not at all, not at all. No, no, it's always a great chat, and thanks for answering all the questions. But before we wrap up today, let's get into the something interesting section. So, Sergio, as our guest, I'd like you to share something that you've read, seen, heard, anything. Can be watch related or absolutely anything at all. Yeah,
Yes, I was going to say the I've been working, so much that, but I
yeah.
saw a movie that maybe it was a very interesting movie that is called The Brutalist. I don't know if you've heard of that one.
No,
The
I.
Brutalist it's about an architect from Hungary that
Ah,
escapes from Europe and lands in the US, and he is yeah, it was
it's
very interesting, a very interesting movie. So that's something that I could recommend. It's very long. It's almost 4 hours. So
oh wow.
yeah,
Okay.
maybe it's not for everyone, but yeah, it's even has an intermezzo in the
Okay, into
middle.
me.
So
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Oh,
So I saw that, and yeah, but honestly, I've been like
focused on this.
another. Yes, I've been so focused on the launch that I I kind of. What about you? Have
Yeah,
you?
yeah, no, look, I just wanted to say Brutalist looks really cool. And of course there's that link, the architect link as well. So
Yes, yeah,
to yourself and it's an A24 film. A24 makes some really good movies and they do some really good stuff. So definitely I'll have to check it out. Myself, I thought of something interesting. So correct me if I'm wrong, but you're originally from Argentina, correct?
yes, that is
Yes,
correct. I
yes,
was born in Argentina.
that's right.
I have Italian, heritage,
Heritage.
And but yes, I left Argentina a long time ago, like
Yes.
24 years ago.
Yeah.
But I I try always to to visit once per year to come back to my country. So
Very
yes,
good. The reason I asked that, reason I brought that up again, and I just wanted to confirm before I said it, is my brother-in-law and his wife, they're both currently traveling the world. They're two teachers that have taken, I guess, like a sabbatical, and as part of
yeah.
they're planning to visit the most UNESCO sites in one year,
Ah,
which is
wow, so cool.
pretty. And they're also, whilst doing all that, they're raising money as well for Black Dog Institute, which is like a mental health charity as well, which is fantastic.
Okay,
And they do a lot of research and all that. But the cool thing is they were just in Buenos Aires yesterday, I think, or they're
okay.
just leaving. And yeah, I saw all their clips about Argentina. I saw all the great carne, all the meats and everything else they're eating. I was like, oh, this looks fantastic. I was like, I have to tell Sergio, and I was a little bit jealous as
Yeah.
well.
Yeah,
So
it's a Argentina, Buenos Aires is super chaotic.
yeah,
It's been like that for the last century, but it's so much vibrant. The energy of the city, it's amazing. Kind of New York or London, you have well, and the difference, in fact, with those cities is that in Argentina, in Buenos Aires, there's always chaos in terms of the political
sure.
situation, the economical situation. So everyone tries to do a lot without any means. So
Yes.
so it's amazing, and I think part of me of the way I work is it's I have this way of thinking or acting, and try to do a lot without with the less possible elements.
Yes.
So yeah, definitely you should visit at some point. You're
One
going
day.
to love it.
One day, yeah. I'm right now. I'm vicariously looking at all their videos and photos they've sent through to our family chat, and we've seen when went to go watch Boca Juniors in the stadium,
Ah,
and they
okay.
said it was it
Yeah.
was it was intense. It was awesome. They loved it. Yeah. So it's a wild ride. But anyway, I thought I would share that with you and to the audience as something interesting. So
Excellent.
yeah,
Excellent.
awesome. All right, look, that's it. We've come to the end. But before we wrap up, listeners, be sure to head on over to Direnzo's website to check out the DRZ07, which is being released, like Sergio said, 24-ish hours now. So very, very, it's coming out imminently. I'm going to do my very best to get this episode live ASAP. But my understanding is it is not limited, and these models, they will get refreshed even if they do sell out, is my understanding, correct?
Yes, so it's a limited production run,
Sure.
and if I have to be super honest, it's very limited. So I'm
Okay.
expecting probably they're going to sell out fast, but I'm expecting in a couple of months another batch. So I will probably explain this and explain that if someone missed, they can get in touch. But yes, as usual, they are always like any micro brand, the quantities are not huge.
Yep.
Make sure to be early tomorrow, and yes, and of course, thank you very much. If you love the my watches, and if you love the Universo, I hope to come with you. And thank you so much, Paraka, for having me here. As I said before, hopefully next time will be sooner. It won't be almost 2 years. So
Yeah.
so I'd be glad to chat with you for a new release or
Yeah.
for to talk about the global situation of the
Ex-
micro brands or
Yeah.
yeah.
Or anything else. Appreciate that. And definitely, I'll take you up on that. We'll definitely be chatting. Don't worry, more often than not. And yeah, seriously, thank you so much for your time today. I know you are in midst of getting this launch ready. As I told the audience before, you've got everything behind you. It's all go. So I appreciate you taking your time to stop and have a chat today. And yes, if there's nothing else, we'll leave it there. Thank you.
Thank you, Braga. Thank you.
Cheers. Thank you for listening to Overtime the podcast. I hope you enjoyed the episode. You can find us on our Instagram at Overtime the Podcast, at Kinda Average Watches, or flick me an email on overtimethepod@gmail.com. I appreciate your support and value your feedback. If you have any questions, suggestions, or topics that you would like the podcast to cover in the future, please hit us up. Until next time.